like it's more of an off-on switch than a scale, you know? It's like the transfiguration of Christ. Just one day you, boom, you know, you're shining on a mountain.
So you don't think it's an all or nothing. You're either superior or you're not. You think there's a spectrum of superiority.
Nope, you just pop up one day. And if I'd exercised more as a child, I could have reached that. But
you would have gone over the top.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a very German notion of superiority.
Yeah. Well, we're watching a film from 1945, the year that Germany's hopes definitively ended in the 20th century.
You're already literally fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
You're taking the side of the Germans in 45.
Well, no, I mean, I enjoy living in... There's perks to living in the capital of the empire, you know? It's just... it's a bummer if you're there when the whole structure comes tumbling down.
Tell me about it. That's what it feels like. Welcome to Thanks Academy, the podcast where we watch all the best picture winners of all time in random order with random friends. And today's random friend is Alan Butt. Hey,
hello.
Alan. Hi.
Hello. I'm so excited.
You just can't hide it.
I can't. I couldn't. I mean, if I could... Well, you know what? I was going to say I wouldn't if I could.
Yeah, but you would.
It's honestly, I've been known to hide my light under a bushel.
Never.
Yeah, like 3 to 5 months out of the year, I'd say, historically. Meds are helping.
Are we are we in one of those seasons? The seasons of the witch?
Honestly, I'm doing pretty good. There's definitely been days where I think the weather specifically has been throwing me. But
yeah, it's been drizzly and gray here in Austin since November started. Mm-hmm. And it does feels like a judgment.
It's oppressive, but the last 2 years of taking my mental health seriously are paying some dividends. And
awesome.
I remember what 4 years ago November was like. You know, like chronic sleep deprivation, like 2 hours of sleep a night, just like hallucinating madness by the third week of it, or you know, it wasn't good. So
wow,
I'm feeling much better this time around. This is an easy ass November.
So if we're in 1945 with this episode, you're looking back to 1941 and going, God, I'm glad it's not Pearl Harbor anymore.
Jesus, yeah. Well, I think VJ Day had happened by this point in 45, right?
I think it's all
like the whole thing was done.
Up.
Yeah,
it was all wrapped up in summer,
the empire
right?
had been solidified. The Marshall Plan was in place, I think, in the process of being articulated.
Yeah. I was always fuzzy on when things flipped from war over to like us in charge. Wasn't there like a series of meetings that needed to happen?
There were, and I don't... I'll mess it up. One of them was called Yalta. I don't remember at what point that happened.
Yeah.
But there was this period where Germany was divided into 4 occupied zones, and then Berlin was subdivided into those same 4 occupied zones, with the Soviets having the eastern half and the western half being divided between the U.S. and the British and the French. And
right. I thought that took a while to untangle, didn't it?
Yeah. It was a process, you know, because let me think. There was an order. So the Marshall Plan was basically the West's equivalent to what they call it in the Eastern Bloc. It was it doesn't matter. I
didn't know they had a plan.
They had a thing. There's a name for it. There's these 2 things, the structures that were put into place.
Okay.
Establishing countries that in the West were theoretically free to not be in NATO. I mean, basically it was NATO, you know?
It was NATO versus Eastern. It was like where the Iron Curtain
the Warsaw Pact.
Warsaw Pact.
That's what I was trying to think of. Is that as soon as I stopped thinking about it, I remembered Poland. Poor sweet Poland.
Oh, Poland, you barely got a chance to exist.
It was not fair what they did to you, and I'll go on record.
Before we get too far into international politics, today we're watching 1945's The Lost Weekend. I have not heard of this movie, much less seen it. I don't know about you, Alan.
I don't know the first thing about it.
So we're both obviously making some assumptions about it being a war-based movie. That's what my mind goes to when I think 45.
Yeah, for sure. That I just overwhelmingly think of the end of World War II when I think of 1945. So this movie could have nothing to do with that, but I'll probably I'll be thinking about that crowd fresh from the war who went to the theater to see it and then voted it Best Picture. It probably resonated with them.
It must have. Yeah. So like, It was made, I'm guessing, like in 44 then. Well, I don't know. They made movies fast back
Yeah,
then.
the studio system, they cranked them out.
Yeah, so it was probably a very fresh movie.
Well, if it came out in... wait, no, it didn't come out in November, right?
I don't know when. It won the award in 46, so it was definitely a 1945 movie.
So, so if it came out in 1945, probably either we had already won or the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
But... There was that lingering question of Japan. I don't think anyone... There was still, fear of having to do a land invasion in Japan right up until the atom bomb happened. So, so in the first half of the year, there's still, I think, a horrible pit in the stomach of an American audience about the amount of bloodshed it's going to take to get a surrender, even though, they're not going to lose. But it's going to be ugly.
It's not going to be fun. Yeah.
And then in the second half of the year, probably some relief.
There's something about the name The Lost Weekend combined with the time period that just makes me think we're in for kind of a depressing ride.
I think that definitely pre-production started before the war with Japan had reached a conclusion.
Yeah.
That was some good detectiving we just did.
It was.
We're Batmans.
The Lost Weekend also sounds like something about defeat. So, but I'm pretty sure it's not a quote-unquote war movie because none of the... I incidentally see some posters here and there. Also, it's only an hour and 45 minutes long.
Beautiful.
Which, war movies cannot handle.
I love movies from the era when movies were the proper length for movies. Oh, my Lord.
In this era, they were either under 2 hours or they went for a broke and went 3 hours.
Yeah.
There was nothing in between.
Yeah, and I mean, give me your vision, Just don't stretch it out because you feel like you have to justify the ticket price.
Yeah. Don't make it 2 hours and 20 minutes just so it feels important, Ben Affleck. Okay. So I'm just, it seems depressing, and then it's short. So I don't think it's going to be something that takes place in the war, but obviously the war is going to be in it.
Something that struck a nerve real hard with a wartime society that was exhausted.
I don't know if I'll recognize any of the stars. It's not a memorable movie or not a movie I remember today, so it might just be a bunch of anonymous people, but we'll find out.
Yep.
All right, you ready for the Lost
Weekend? Here we go.
That is not the 1945... Universal logo by any means.
No.
They had universalstudios.com way back then. That's better. Okay, Ray Milland I know just by name. I don't
think I know either of them.
Yeah. Okay, it's based on a novel. That's better than being based on a play, usually.
Yeah, a lot of times a director will really underestimate. I hate when plays are. Oh, Billy Wilder.
Hell yeah!
Cool.
Screenplay by Billy Wilder.
I was about to throw out Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf as a beautiful example of how to adapt a play.
Yeah, All About Eve was adapted from a play too, so now I kind of taken that back.
Yeah, it's
a book just... Oh, Edith Head did the costumes well. Hell yeah.
There are some lazy films based on plays that are like watching a play.
Yeah, there's one set, yeah.
But there's also movies like that use the set really well. Like, did you ever see The Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant?
No.
It's cool.
All right.
Oh!
Directed by Billy Wilder.
Very nice. So he had freshly escaped the Holocaust.
I don't know if that makes this more or less depressing. Usually Billy Wilder's not too depressing, but
sometimes.
He had just escaped the Holocaust, as you say.
Oh, wait. Did I ascribe Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf to him? He didn't do that.
No, he did not.
No, the thing I saw I'm thinking of Sunset Boulevard. That's the movie that did he do The 7-Year Itch? I think he might have.
He did. Yes, I think he did.
Mike Nichols did
Some Like
Who's Afraid of Virginia?
Some Like It Hot.
Ooh, Some Like It Hot.
Yeah, that was Billy Wilder, right?
That's funny.
There is a bottle of moonshine hanging from an apartment window, and I am for it.
The camera's panning in weird. Is that choppiness from the projector, or is that...
No, that's just...
that's just how it's shot?
Better take this along, Don.
Didn't have steady cam back
I guess
then.
not.
How many shirts are you taking? 3? I'm taking 5. 5? Yeah, I
Show
told
off.
the office I might not be until Tuesday. We'll get there this afternoon. That will give us all Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll make it a long, wonderful weekend. Sounds long, all right. It'll be good for you, Don, after what you've been through. Trees and grass and sweet cider and buttermilk and water from that well that's colder than any other. Wait, please. Why this emphasis on liquids? Very dull liquids.
I like a society where it's taken for granted that buttermilk will calm you down. If someone gave me a glass of buttermilk and was like, you have to drink this.
I'd be offended.
Yeah.
I'd say, turn this into pancakes or pie.
Yeah.
You really feel up to riding? Why not? I mean, after what you've been through. I haven't touched the stuff for 10 days now. I know.
Maybe it's healthy, but it's not a treat.
Where is the typewriter? In the living room. In the closet.
It's definitely 1945 healthy to drink buttermilk.
Yeah.
Kind of towards the back.
That was like their yogurt.
Well, this was right before Americans got fat, when we were at peak, like, fattening you up being
Well, look at the desk.
what health meant. You know?
Yeah.
Post-depression.
Oh, we've got
Isn't it under your bed?
an alcoholic here.
Oh. Booze boy.
Want it? Oh, sure. Sure, here it is.
What do we go back to here? 20s? 30s? 30s.
Yeah, I bet it would be more obvious if we lived then from the fashion.
Well, he's wearing that round bowler. That wasn't in fashion in the 40s at all.
I don't know. I can't go decade by decade with hat fashion. I could maybe get you the century. You know?
Mine's only based on movies.
Cool.
Look, they're showing an opera in the movies, and there's no blood. That never happens anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best operas are bloody as hell, you know? I like a good blood opera.
I do too, but if you see an opera in the movie now, it has to have lots of blood, or you're up there like, why are you showing us an opera?
That's my darkest secret is, you know, as we mentioned earlier, there's that classic Brahms-Wagner feud, and I'm like, get you a girl who can do both. I see no reason to cut myself off from either Fount of Joy or the musical doctrines they espoused.
Look at him following the fake bottle of champagne on stage.
Oh, what a loser.
Oh my god.
That's a bit much.
I'll admit that when I was freshly quit from smoking, it was real hard for me to watch somebody smoke in a movie.
I feel
So I kind of feel that. Wow. They did the coolest stuff with black lace back then.
Yeah, the dresses, like that first dress that the female star was in. I don't remember her name.
The B-girl, yeah.
Yeah, the first dress she was in was stunning.
Wow, look at all that champagne.
Yeah, but you know, theater was big. I do wish I could see, like, one of the fun time machine things to do would be to go see, like, vaudeville at its height.
Oh, totally.
Not filtered through, like, a post-vaudeville culture in any
Yes.
way.
Totally. Oh my god. All the opera stores turned into trench coats. What the fuck does that? Oh, the trench coats have models in them.
That's a cool shot. They're really getting tricksy with the camera here. Doing a lot of movie magic on us.
That's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where the person on the stranded raft turns into a turkey.
Yeah. Except his is a hidden bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, his is wild turkey.
Even in his fantasy, like,
it's still just cheap rye.
yeah, and all the champagne disappeared. It was like a catalyst, but that's not what he's really fantasizing about, you know?
Hey, this isn't yours, is it?
Certainly isn't.
That's what it says, though, 417.
I don't care what it says.
The checks must have gotten mixed up.
Maybe they did. Find me my coat. It's a plain man's raincoat and a derby.
Are you kidding? Do you know how many plain men's raincoats we have on a day like this? About 1,000.
Well, let me get back there and find it.
Oh, please. That's against regulations, sir.
I am not going to wait here until the end of the performance.
Well, you can get your coat tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Look, man, there's something in the pocket of that coat that Well, it so happens I found myself without any money. And I need that coat. I need it now.
Listen, if everybody went digging in through those coats, there's regulations. There's got to be regulations.
Then what do you suggest?
Wait till the other party arrives and swap.
I want my coat.
As far as I'm concerned, mister, that's your coat.
Oh, is this how he met her?
I hate code checks. It stresses me out every time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm certain I'll never get it back.
It's always that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who's wielding his tiny amount of coat check power over you.
Yep.
Just a miserable little coat check tyrant.
This is another lesson, though, in the sadness of men's uniformity of fashion. Get a red raincoat, you know?
What are you doing?
Ooh. Oh.
Nothing.
Where did that bottle come from?
It just rolled out.
From under the couch?
Yes, sir.
Man, he is
What
bad at this.
makes you think that?
It was a bottle the first time we met.
Wow. Dude, she's
Fell out of Don's pocket.
good.
Yeah.
That was for me, Helen. This one's mine, too. You might as well hear the family scandal.
Man, quit taking the bullet.
Don
Yeah.
thinks I drink too much. I promised to go on
This
the wagon, that's why he-
brother, this is a real
This is a ride or die that's very unnecessary.
yeah, it's not good.
Forget it, Helen.
This guy's like devoted his whole life to both enabling and fretting over his brother's
I
alcoholism.
won't mention a word of it to him.
Thank you, Helen.
Bye.
But, Helen,
Oh, shit. Can't do it.
I'm sorry, Helen. I can't let you go. Not like this.
Don.
Shut your mouth, Don. I'll take you downstairs. Thanks very much for your Philadelphia story, Wick. Nice try.
Cute.
That looks so silly on you. Don't listen to him. He doesn't have to. Just look at the two of us.
Yes, what is all this covering up?
All that happened is that Don was nervous at the idea of meeting your parents, and so he had a couple of drinks. Come on, Wick. She'd have found out sooner or later.
Stop it, both of you. Don's a little tight. Most people drink a little. A lot of them get tight once in a while.
Sure, the lucky ones who can take it or leave it. But then there are the ones who can't take it and can't leave it either. What I'm trying to say is I'm not a drinker. I'm a drunk. He had to put me away once. He went to a cure. Which didn't take. You see, that first time we met, I should have had the decency to get drunk just for your sake.
For my sake. We're talking about you. Is it really that bad, Wick?
Yes, it is. Can't we go over this tomorrow, Don, when you're feeling more like yourself? Helen's heard the facts. That's all there is to it.
Yes, I've heard them and they're not too pleasant. But they could be worse. After all, you're not an embezzler or a murderer. You drink too much, and that's not fatal. One cure didn't take, there are others.
Of course there are.
Don't just assume he's not an embezzler or a murderer because he's an alcoholic.
I mean, we've already seen him embezzle.
Look, I'm
too,
way
so-
ahead of
Yeah,
myself.
not mutually
I know
exclusive by any means.
Me, what I am, or rather what I'm not. What I wanted to become and didn't.
What is it you want to be so much that you're not?
A writer. Silly, isn't it?
Yeah. If you haven't written anything.
You know,
Yeah, you should really, like, that's a shit or get off the pot kind of gag.
One of my stories, boy, was I hot. Hemingway stuff. I reached my peak when I was 19.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back. You were Hemingway at 19. Hemingway wasn't Hemingway at 19. Arguably, Hemingway was never Hemingway. This is
Okay.
an episode of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, seriously.
I think season 1, episode 8? I don't know. There's that one, they get real high. The drugs are updated for a contemporary audience.
Yeah.
It's one of maybe 3 season 1 BoJack episodes that I remember distinctly. Several years out from having watched it.
Oh. As a sometime writer, I gotta say, when you write the dedication before the first sentence,
That's a bad
way
sign.
over your skis.
Yeah.
You,
You've jinxed the project
exactly.
right there.
You have fallen in love with the idea of writing something, but you haven't come up with an idea to write. God, he sucks at cigarettes. That's the second time he's had to turn one around to get the filter in his mouth.
Yeah, that is true. It's like, by the time you finish a project worth finishing, who knows who you'll want to dedicate it to.
Exactly.
Your entire social universe could have transformed.
You clearly need to dedicate it to that bartender.
Honestly, this guy needs to dedicate something to himself, Gotta fix himself.
Hey, what's up? Go up. It's in the light. It's in the light. No, you wouldn't.
Oh, he's never even gonna start writing because he's too busy trying to find his bottle.
You've got to hide your shit before you get drunk.
If the third act of this movie is just him tearing up this apartment, I'm satisfied with that. Lots of close-ups on his face.
Where did you put it? You are crazy. Where did you put it?
This guy does a lot of face emotions.
Yeah, he's a walking emoji.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's tearing up the apartment.
Oh, man. It's going to be so hard to get that back all like it was.
This is your brother's apartment, too.
Yeah, you're not going to get to keep living here, man.
Nice closet.
You are blowing it. Like, at this point, even if you tidy up, he's going to know something happened on a massive scale.
Look at all his hat boxes.
I know.
We can always just sniff the empty one. Oh my god, is he gonna sniff it? Do it.
Oh, the hallucinations.
Is it, or...
It's gonna toy with us.
That is a very strange behavior for a mouse. Okay, there's a bat in the apartment.
There are a lot of movies that are really intent on having, like, prop bats. That would have been fine without the prop bat,
Maybe bats were a bigger problem back then.
I guess.
Awesome, the bat gets the mouse.
That's pretty cool. Whoa! Whoa! This movie's awesome!
Mascots!
Is he gonna just jump out the window?
Mr. James?
You'll notice I didn't even find the first line.
Of course you couldn't write the beginning because you didn't know the ending. Only now... Only now you know the ending.
One copy to Bill, one for the doctor who loaned me his coat, and one to Nat. Imagine Wick standing in front of a bookstore. A big pyramid of my books. And now,
You're thinking too far ahead.
Damn it, guy!
One day at a time.
One word at a time.
This is like narcissism
minute by minute,
at an insane level.
stood in there, packing my suitcase.
You can't
Only my mind wasn't on
do anything because you're obsessed with fantasizing about the future you might have.
I was putting in the suitcase either. My mind was hanging outside the window. It was suspended just about 18 inches below. And out there in that great big concrete jungle, I wonder how many others there are like me. Poor bedeviled guys on fire.
Yeah, you're getting way ahead of yourself still.
Such comical figures to the rest of the world as they stagger blindly towards another binge, another bender, another spring.
Okay. I guess that was a happy ending.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll call it that. Okay, so the Lost Weekend.
We just watched it.
Yeah, we did, and it was sad.
Yeah, it was a huge bummer.
It was a sad weekend.
It really was. Not a great weekend.
He didn't drink any of his milk. And he drank, what do you think the total rye whiskey bottle count was on that weekend? 4?
I think I saw 4, yeah.
4 plus whatever he downed in the bar, probably another half.
Yeah, that was, the first night he drank quite a lot at that bar.
Yeah, he got like a good pint of whiskey in him then.
That seems likely.
Okay. Well, it's not a war movie.
Nope.
The war doesn't even get mentioned once.
No.
But it's less happy than a war movie.
Yeah.
Somehow.
There's often some moments of levity in a war film.
Yeah, it's Ray Milland is there's someone you can root for. Is an alcoholic. For sure, Daddy-O. And he's never held a job in his life. And he thinks he's a writer, but he hasn't written anything since he was in high school.
It's pitiful.
And he's 40 now?
Yep.
30-something at least?
Yeah.
And
he tried to kill himself. Well, he was going to kill himself when he was 30.
Yeah, but then he had to take a drink, and then he got on a bender, and he forgot to kill himself, and then he pawned the gun. Which, honestly, is kind of funny.
Yeah. You got to dig real deep to find the humor in this one.
So he's been in and out of stuff. I mean, not really rehab, because they didn't do that, but his brother's over it. He still lives with his brother.
And his brother, their relationship is one of the more interesting parts of the movie to me, because his brother seems to be obsessed with his brother's alcoholism and built his own life around it, and he's there to constantly reinforce, you're a piece of shit, you loser, but also covers for him with women. And
and even after he stops doing that, covers for him financially.
Yeah, he enables his alcoholism, but is very intensely moralizing about it the whole time.
He's almost like a warden. When we open on the movie, they're about to go off for the weekend, and he's checking them out like a jail warden.
Yeah.
And then he has a girlfriend of 3 years who he met in the first 6 months, I think he said, of their relationship. He managed to stay sober.
I think he said 6 weeks.
Okay. And things were going well till her parents came to visit, and they seemed a little bit, parenty.
Yeah.
And that scared him back into the bottle.
He chokes, she catches him boozing, and then the minute she realizes he's a problem alcoholic, she doubles down on the relationship and is like, I will save you!
Yes! And then, we get to the end of the movie where she finally says, I can't save you! Because he's been on this bender all weekend, getting into various misadventures where he steals from everybody he meets. And then she gives up on him because she thinks he pawned her coat for a bottle of liquor, but he didn't. He pawned it for a gun. And the minute he's going to kill himself, she thinks, well, I can save someone who's going to kill himself. That's way easier than alcoholism.
And she's roped right back into that abusive relationship.
And it ends with a happy ending where he's finally inspired to write that great novel and never drink again. And anybody who knows anything about alcoholism can see just the little blip in the cycle that will resume the minute anything does not go his way.
Such as when he doesn't immediately write the novel he wants to write?
Yeah, it's probably, I would say, what was it, Monday? When they decided his life was going to start fresh. I gave him to Wednesday.
Yeah, the novels take a while.
Yep. Even in NaNoWriMo, they take a whole month. It's a bleak ass movie. It's Billy Wilder, not Billy Wildering at all, except for in the direction, which is gorgeous.
Yeah, really, really, really beautiful cinematography.
Yeah. The best thing about the movie to me is the hooker. There's a hooker
she's fantastic.
At the bar. And she's great. She's gorgeous. She wears cool clothes, and then she just has weird slang that's all her own, and she really I don't know, seems fun. I wanted to watch a movie about her.
I know 44th Street is the best line of the movie.
Yep. That was definitely it. I don't know, Alan. What was your overall assessment? I know we already talked about how bleak it is, but
I'm really glad I saw it. We said off mic that we probably both would cut about 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Make commit harder to the bleak ending than probably the studio was willing to go along with.
I'd let him kill himself.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. But I don't know. I mean, there is also something poignant about watching him like start the cycle over again. You know, bringing the knowledge of what alcoholism looks like to the picture.
Yeah.
We can call the studio's bluff a little bit on the ending. You know, it's in some ways bleaker for him to have just because his girlfriend nearly got out.
Yeah, she was so close.
And then all it took was him threatening, you know, making a semi-credible suicide threat, and she loves him all over again.
You know, the girlfriend, she's fine. She's acted well or whatever. But like that relationship was hard to get invested in because it was so clearly not helpful aspect in his life and destroying hers on some level.
Yeah, I found the movie like less enjoyable to watch the more definitively I hated the protagonist.
Yeah.
Early on, you know, I was doing a lot of, this guy's fun to watch. He's a good actor. He's very animated. He's very I stopped caring about the outcome of his foibles by the end, and I was like, I want him. Let's just wrap this up. Let's get him either dead or in the prison, or have our schmaltzy happy ending, or whatever we're gonna do. Like I stopped. You know.
Well, what was your turning point? Like, what was the moment where you're like, oh, I don't care what happens to him anymore?
I don't know.
I think I know mine.
The flour in the bag is pretty bad.
So he steals a purse of a woman dining next to him in order to pay a tab at a fancy bar. And in the process of stealing it, he takes a flower from the bathroom valet and puts it in the purse as like a sorry about that gesture that is so cool. And he is so fucking pleased with himself that he did that chivalrous thing.
It's really grotesque.
That's exactly when I was like, I don't care what happens to you anymore.
He's just pitiful by the end, and there's not. I'm not invested in his outcome at a certain point. You know, so the movie got more boring for me toward the end when I didn't care as much.
Yeah, it's in terms of a depiction of alcoholism, aside from a couple of exaggerations about DT hallucinations, it was very accurate in the fact that we start out with this character. He seems exciting at first. Mm-hmm. We kind of want him to succeed. Then we kind of want to watch him fail in an interesting way. And then we're just
mundane.
Done with him. Yeah, just addiction is so boring.
Yeah.
And it really is in real life. It's such a boring cycle.
And that's what I like about this movie is how like unflinching it is about the depiction of that. I mean, it feels very real. Mm-hmm. And it feels, as so many of the movies from that era do, it feels distinctly like a movie made for adults who have lived a life and experienced things.
Yeah.
That takes for granted that you bring that experience to the table watching the movie.
Totally.
And it really, I mean, there's some real ugliness in that film, and you're right. It does it also hammers home kind of structurally just the pitiful, repetitive quality of there's nothing like there's nothing dramatic about it except for like his weird suicide feint, which maybe is sincere. I don't know, but like.
Well, I kind of bought that. He was exhausted. He hadn't eaten a thing in 3 days. The only thing he had eaten was rye whiskey. So, like, he seemed genuinely physically burnt by the time he was trying to kill himself.
If I don't get rye whiskey, I surely will die.
I think the best part of the movie is when the entire bar sings... He stole a purse.
Yeah, someone stole a purse. I can't remember the melody, but it's so good. And they all are prepared for the moment. Like they join in with the singer instantly. This is not the first time that all of these bar patrons have participated in the
shaming
ritual
of a purse stealer.
Musical shaming of a purse dealer at an upscale bar.
I kind of want to look that up if that was a tradition. Like if there was so much pickpocketing back then that if you were in a bar and there was a piano player and someone tried to steal something,
He was ready to go.
it was he stole the purse time.
Well, that's what that's how you know the real pros.
Yeah. That was probably the most enlightening part of that and the hooker in her, like she said the word ridic like
It was
4 times,
so good.
which was so weird. It was like, how did early 2000s Snapchat lingo get into?
I really liked her performance, and
Yeah.
As we were saying, I think during the movie at some point, I feel motivated to look up her filmography and see if there's any others that sound compelling. 'Cause
Yeah,
I would like to see her in more roles.
I looked through it, and there was not another recognizable film in terms of like it stood the test of time and everybody's heard of it. But that doesn't mean there's other good stuff in there.
Yeah.
And actually, if you look at this year, I pulled up the Academy Awards for this year. I don't recognize any of these movies, which, I mean, isn't going to surprise any of
I've heard of a
the
Trudge in
listeners
Brooklyn.
because I don't know much about movies. I know Anchor's Away because that's a very early Gene Kelly.
Oh, it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong list.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I mean,
I don't know any of those movies.
If you just scan the whole Oscar thing, it's like, I guess Spellbound because it's
Tree
Hitchcock,
Grows in
I've heard
Brooklyn is
of.
the only thing that. Well, I mean, there's stuff that's adaptations of novels that I'm aware of.
There's a National Velvet, which I don't know if that
The
has
Picture
anything
of Dorian
to do.
Gray,
Right.
Mildred Pierce.
Picture of Dorian Gray got an Oscar nomination for Angela fucking Lansbury. That's
Look at
cool.
her.
Yeah.
1945.
Look at that with the Best Supporting Actress nomination. Look, Gregory Peck and Gene Kelly both got nominations. So, like, the names I know.
Yeah.
Ingrid Bergman.
Joan Crawford won Best Actress.
Yeah. But the pictures themselves, not a rogues gallery of, like, classic movies. So.
Well, there was a lot of money going to the war effort.
That's true.
The story of G.I. Joe, I wonder what that is like.
I don't think... I
the
doubt
American
Cobra
sniper of its year.
Yeah, there's no Cobra in here, I don't think. No. It's, they're playing it straight.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the toy franchise.
I wonder if the toy franchise actually, though, like, went from that. Because, the original G.I. Joe started out as just a doll.
Yeah.
A very large doll. Maybe it was based on...
Could have been. Or just
that's
a very
Robert
generic
Mitchum,
name.
too. A lot of names. The cool thing is, when I looked this up, it mentioned that this was the first year they went back to presenting real statuettes. They were doing plaster during the war.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was like a return to the glamour a little bit.
Oh, look at that. It was the first to win Best Picture at the Oscars and the Palme d'Or.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Very well shot.
Along the
visually
lines
beautiful.
of Requiem for a Dream or Schindler's List. I'm going to put this on my list of movies that I'm glad I saw and I will definitely not watch again.
Yeah, I could
Because it's too draining.
Yeah, it's one of those that I might watch again if there's someone who I think would enjoy it. And I'd be like, hey, let me show you this cool movie. But it's I don't know that it's one that I'd be motivated to watch again on my own.
I thought you were going to say you'd
though.
show it again if someone needed an intervention.
Nah,
Like
there's better.
Hey,
there's better ways.
You need to see this movie. It's about you, asshole. Ray Milland is really good, though, at doing that change on a dime from, like, happy-go-lucky to charming to asshole. When
Almost any close-up on his or the hooker's face
Yeah.
is gold in this movie. And just,
Totally.
like the visual grammar stuff of, like, nuts and bolts filmmaking is, like, very good with some, like, lovely artsy flourishes as well. It's, like, a super competent movie.
Yeah, it's like a non-cheesy film noir, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And like you pointed out, which was interesting, how much of this seemed to borrow from horror movie tropes.
Yeah, both in the soundtrack and then also in the depictions of the DTs.
Yeah.
Which I'm not used to in popular media. That feels almost like postmodern, like deploying the tropes of a different genre to like to put that in someone's mind in a way that I would think would. I don't know if that would have read to audiences as tropey the way that it does to me, but it seems like it would. I mean, those Universal horror pictures were better known at the time than they are now.
Yeah,
you know?
they were the Marvel superhero movies of the 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was watching them. So, yeah.
So it seems like it's consciously aping that a little bit to draw that contrast between, like, you know, the gothic horror soundtrack and the just pitiful, grinding, mundane suicide of alcoholism.
God. I do think that the three things that won Oscars, the picture itself, Billy Wilder for directing, and Ray Milland for acting, I think they all were fully deserving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good. I haven't seen any of the competition, but I mean, just
definitely
really good.
Not one of those, like, what the fuck were they thinking?
No, I know what the fuck they were thinking, and I appreciate that they thought it. And and now we've seen this movie.
Well put.
But I can't, like, get excited about it. It's not like a movie I'm going to be, like, listing as one of my favorites or an incredible piece.
It's a huge bummer.
It's a dirge, you know?
It's a huge bummer. And the things that it does well are things that you can see done well elsewhere, including by the same director, in movies where there's, like, more of an authorial voice.
This would literally be the last Billy Wilder movie I'd tell people to watch if they were like, I've never seen a Billy Wilder movie. I'm like, oh my God. There are so many more fun choices here.
Sunset Boulevard's a good time.
Yeah. Anyway, I think this is basically 1945's Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
I keep going back to that
Absolutely.
movie. Like, very arty, very well acted, very intense. You're kind of invested most of the time, but, like, nobody wants to watch that twice.
No.
Nobody. Alan, thank you so much for...
Thank you for having me on. This movie was a blast.
Checking this classic out.
Like I said, I'd never even heard of it before I came here, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
The experience became grueling and unpleasant by the end, but that seems like it could very well be by design.
That's life. That's just life. And sometimes this podcast. Just be glad it wasn't 3.5 hours long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to mention or plug or point people to?
Not really.
All right.
No.
If you get a chance to see Alan live, which you will if you come to Live at Cold Town November 30th, if you're listening to this when it's fresh, you should definitely take it. Very funny and articulate and energetic comedian. And thank you again for coming up.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. I'll see the rest of you next week. And we'll come back with something maybe happier, maybe not. It's random. I hope it's happy. Okay.